Hey, you guys, how's it going? Let's talk about some things that you should think about when you're writing. So, get a piece of paper and a pencil and get ready to do this. If you have to hit pause to get those things, then hit pause. There's not that many notes to take, but there's a couple of things. So, I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Okay, so here we are. You have your paper, you have a piece of paper and something to write with. Um, Here's a couple things I want you to think about. And I've broken this down into 4 sections. So the first section would be, how does this sound in English? I want you to think about when you're writing something, does it make sense in English? Say to yourself, whatever the sentence is that you're thinking in your head, say it in English. So that way, you're using your English brain to process information, because really your Spanish brain, it's not quite there yet where you can just make sense of things in the second language. You got to really think in your first language. So ask yourself, what does it sound like? Say the sentence in your head. Second thing, ask yourself, does it make really good sense to say this? Is this really what I want to say in English? Okay. And then figure out how to communicate those ideas in Spanish. So I think that works really well. And, sometimes I do that. I'll ask myself how to say something in English. And then I kind of translate over. I do that sometimes. But really, I can function in both languages. Okay, second thing, you need to organize your ideas. Think about all the things you want to talk about, right? All those bullet points on the sheet that say stuff like, you know, what's his work like? What's school like? Introduce his family. Those bullet points. Think about those things. And for each one of those ideas, you're going to want to say a couple of things, right? So you should organize those kind of main ideas. So when you're dealing with one topic in particular, I want you to think about that one topic. For example, let's say you're going to talk about his school. Okay, so think about that topic you're dealing with at that moment, and you're going to talk about the details of that topic. So before you really talk about it, though, introduce the topic. Don't just start sharing ideas about school, because if you just start abruptly, giving ideas, then, like I say, it sounds abrupt and it doesn't flow at all. So you got this topic, which you have many topics, right? You have all these different topics you want to deal with. Think about the one you're doing, introduce that topic with some kind of a starter phrase, and then elaborate, give details on that topic. Okay, so before you start giving us details about school, tell us that Basilio, he actually goes to school, or education is important to Basilio, and so he attends a school, or whatever it is that you want to say. Okay, you have to think about what it is that you would like to say. Give details about that topic. Number 3, tie your ideas together. So within that topic, make sure that what you're saying makes sense and that it's logical and coherent. And coherent means that they fit together. Logical means that the line that you're traveling down, someone can follow what you're saying. So make sure that your ideas are in an order that the reader can follow along with, okay? So if you're skipping around and you're going from, here to there kind of randomly, that tends to confuse people. So you have to kind of make sure that it flows. Ask yourself if each sentence connects well with the one before it and the one after it. And if it doesn't, how can you rephrase that to help connect it? I think what we do sometimes is we get focused on one thing that we're trying to say. We get narrow thinking, and we're really laboring about how to say it in Spanish, and we forget about what it is that we're really saying. And that happens a lot in Spanish 3. Okay, so here is the last idea. Use transition ideas. Transition ideas would be tying your ideas together or transitioning from one topic to another. So you can use this within a topic, or you can use it between the main topics that you're discussing. So, hey, we have some sequential things. This kind of helps us talk in sequence. So, and a lot of these, right off the top of your head. So, we have afterward and at the same time, earlier, from the beginning. That should say from the. Oh, I'm sorry. For the time being, like I can't read that. Later, next, while. Oops, spelled while wrong. Sorry about that. At first, and all those kinds of things. Okay. And so these are great phrases. Well, how do you say these in Spanish? Well, they're super easy to look up, and maybe. Well, I think we have a sheet on these. But anyway, I think that you can just think in English and then try to look up these words in Spanish, and then that'll really help you. They're not that difficult. Here's a couple more contrast words. Well, you've probably used several of these, but nevertheless, on the other hand, however, on the contrary, though, those are great ways to transition from one idea to the next. Basilio, he really wants to finish his education and become a teacher. However, he has a lot of challenges, and he's very poor. And okay, so you can kind of see how those work. Cause and effect words. I know you've used these before. Because, as a result, for that reason, therefore. Those are great ways to tie ideas together. I have one more slide for you. Give examples of things. Talk about something, and then give an example. It's really dangerous in the mines. For example, there are a lot of explosions, there's avalanches, and so forth. And then you have adding words, things that you can use to keep on talking about something and continue your line of thinking. So I hope these are helpful to you guys. I'm going to put this slideshow on Google Classroom so you can refer to it again without me talking. And there you go. So thanks a lot.